What's going on, guys? Welcome back to a brand new video on the channel. Inside of today's video, we're going to be taking a look at the best star powers and gadgets in the game right now, also the worst ones as well, because a lot of these change, especially with the meta shifting every single season, but I typically do this every 2 seasons anyway. So for season 26, these are the best. Before we jump into it, make sure you're subscribed if you're not already. Getting close to 300k, appreciate the support, and without further ado, let's jump into it. So we're going to be starting off with the gadgets and the best gadgets. So we're going to be doing about 15 good gadgets and then about 5 bad ones, because the bad ones rarely change. So the first one's going to be Satchel Charge. It's actually one of the best gadgets inside of a game on Dynamite. It stuns the opponent for 1.5 seconds, which is just insane. For me, this actually needs a nerf because you confirm a kill pretty much every single time you hit a shot. Of course, there's a bit of skill cap there to actually hit the shot, but if you land it, especially on a noob, you're just going to delete everyone. So next up on the best gadget list, we have Multiple Launcher with Rico. So this gadget is actually broken. It deals like 12k damage and even more damage if the opponent is literally on top of you, and it's the fact that you can just press this gadget at even like really weird distances and angles and it can just delete tanks. It's absolutely insane. People don't realize how strong this gadget is, because Rico beforehand could get countered by tanks and other aggressive brawlers, but now with this gadget, he's near enough unstoppable. Next we have Piper's gadget called Auto Aim. So whenever Piper taps the gadget, she'll push back the opponent, slow them, and deal a little bit of damage. But not only that, she'll actually get a bit of a main attack ammo back through the snappy sniping star power. So this combination just makes it such a broken gadget fundamentally, and it's the fact that you can actually play super aggressive with this gadget, knocking back every single assassin, and for me it makes Piper near enough impossible to counter. So we have Colette's gadget called Gotcha. So whenever she pops the gadget for 5 seconds, she'll heal 80% of the damage dealt to the opponent. So typically you want to be shooting brawlers with the most HP, so tanks for example, so you're going to get a lot of healing. This just pairs so well with her mass attack star power. Once you of course super in and you're pretty weak, you just pop this gadget, heal up to pretty much full, and you can just cycle so easily. So we have Angelo's gadget called Sting in Flight. So whenever you pop the gadget, you will jump a big distance and also drain 660 HP from the opponents. But the reason why this is so strong is because from a gadget, this is by far the biggest jump inside of the game, which is just absolutely insane. It means you can get away from danger really easily. You're just impossible to kill with this gadget. But not only that, you can also make really aggressive plays in Brawl, and also paired with your super, you can just jump onto the high safe and deal some insane damage. So this gadget is definitely one of the best in the game. Next up we have Gray's gadget called Walking Cane. So whenever you shoot your next shot, it will actually shoot out a walking cane which will pull opponents towards you. The reason why this is so good is essentially a mini gene pool, but it also breaks open the map, so it makes Gray such a good and unique brawler. You can also get some really good Gray tech and use the gadget and the super at the same time and literally create a gene pool. So there's a lot of like tech around this, and I think it's one of the best gadgets easily. So next up we have another broken gadget with Lily's gadget called Vanish. So whenever you pop this gadget, you will just go into the shadow realm for 3 seconds. So this is just broken for so many reasons. You can use this as a way to cheat death essentially. If it's like a Tara super or any big super flying your way, just pop this gadget and you can escape it every single time. You can use it to connect bushes and act as like a mini Leon super, and of course it's broken because it's a Cordelia super with a click of the button. It's so cheesy, and it's one of the main reasons why Lily's viable, because without it, Lily is hot trash. So we have Charlie's gadget called Spiders. Whenever you press this gadget, 3 spiders will spawn out and chase the opponents. The reason why this is so good is because it wastes opponents' ammo, and it also doesn't just disappear after a set amount of time like Tara's pets. So that's why Spider's gadget is just so annoying. Next up on the best gadget list, we have Amber's gadget called Dancing Flames. Whenever you use the gadget, you'll have 3 flames orbiting you for 5 seconds, dealing 2,100 damage per flame. The reason why this is so good is because you can push up to a wall with Amber, and you can literally deal like 4k damage instantly with his gadget. Sometimes you can even deal like 6k damage if like an Edgar or any assassin jumps on you. It depends on what kind of true blue or true red you're on, but just because of that glitch and loads of different things as well, it makes Amber such a solid brawler, and without it she won't be nearly an S tier brawler. So next up we have Surge's gadget called Power Shield. So whenever you pop this gadget and an opponent shoots you, you will tank 50% of that damage, but not only that, you will gain 2 pieces of ammo instantly. I think this gadget is fundamentally broken even since they nerfed it over a year ago, just because you can essentially cheat life. But not only that, because of Surge's really fast unload speed, you can just destroy people so easy. I think this gadget is so strong. So on the list we have Sandy's gadget called Sweet Dreams. So whenever you activate this gadget, your next attack will stun the opponents for 1 second. I just think the stun itself is just so crazy strong. It enables Sandy to actually soft counter some of his biggest counters. You know, for example, if a Buzz is about to grapple onto you, you can actually just gadget him and stop his super. You can opponents just cancel so many different brawler supers as well, you know, Frank super, you know, Daryl roll, etc. So I just think this gadget is fundamentally so good. We have Max's gadget called Phase Shifter, so whenever you press the gadget, you will dash forward, but not only that, you'll just tank all incoming damage. So it's like a Shelly fast forward gadget, but 10 times better, because you can make so many good plays with it. For example, if you're trying to play aggressive on a Piper or a sharpshooter, you can literally tank their full shot and just get super aggressive. You can make so many aggressive plays on Brawl and score so many good goals. I think this gadget is so good, but it does have a bit of a skill cap to it. So for the best gadget list, we have Return to Sender with a Nanny. So again, another gadget which is fundamentally broken even since they nerfed it some time ago. Essentially, you can cheat death for 2 seconds. You will reflect 80% of damage through the next projectile. So the reason why this is so good, it's not broken everywhere, but on long range maps, shooting star for example, no sharpshooters can kill you as long as you've got those 3 gadgets, maybe even 4 gadgets. You know, you can hard counter Piper, Mandy, Belle, Brock, all of these sharpshooters. You literally can't kill Nanny. So for me, this is one of the cheesiest gadgets in the game, and I really hope they nerf it to the ground. Next up, we have Clay Pigeons with Shelly. So even though she's not the most meta brawler, this gadget will always be one of the best ones. With Shelly, I use the extra gadget here because of how strong this is. Essentially, when you pop the gadget, you will shoot a much smaller cone, but it'll be a lot longer range, so you can just get a lot more consistent damage. But not only that, it'll enable you to cycle through to your super much cleaner. So this gadget is definitely one of the best in the game. Lastly, for the best gadget list, we have Tuning Fork with Poco. So whenever you pop the gadget, 740 healing for 5 seconds for you and nearby allies as well, which is insane. So that's 3,700 healing for yourself, but if you have one teammate, that's an extra 3,700, and then if you have all of your teammates, that's just insane healing overall. This got buffed a couple of months ago. It was super underrated, and I think it's the main reason why Poco is actually near the meta right now. Now we're going to be moving into the worst 5 gadgets in the game right now, starting off with Penny's trusty Spyglass. So whenever you press the gadget, essentially Penny's turret will shoot out all opponents that are visible. That sounds pretty good, right? It sounds like it will really boost your DPS, but it won't, because the Penny turret is really inaccurate. It's a little bit of a delay to it, and I've never seen anyone use this gadget, so it's just terrible. Next, we have Griff's gadget called Coin Shower. So essentially, you'll add 33% more coins with your next shot. It sounds pretty good, but the main thing about Griff is that his main attack is actually pretty inaccurate and pretty easy to avoid. So this gadget just doesn't make sense for him, whilst his other gadget is one of the best in the game. Next up, we have Bonnie's gadget called Crash Test. So whenever you're in Bonnie form, you will dash forward a little bit and deal 2,300 to the opponent and also knock them back. So that sounds pretty good, but the problem is the dash range is just so small, and you're so vulnerable whilst in Bonnie form because you got very limited range. So I feel like the dash range needs to be like doubled or something for this gadget to even be viable. Next up, we have Ash's gadget called Rotten Banana. So you will actually sacrifice 25% of your HP and you'll gain 40% rage instantly. So this gadget got even worse because Ash's rage actually got increased. It got buffed not too long ago. So what's the point of losing HP to actually gain that rage when you basically have rage all of the time now with Ash? So for me, it just doesn't make sense. Lastly, for the worst gadgets, we have Eve's gadget called Motherly Love. So whenever you press this gadget and then throw out your super, the hatchlings will heal up you and your allies, which sounds pretty good. But the thing about Eve is that you want to use your super to waste the opponent's ammo and create pressure. Whilst this one, you can't actually press the gadget after you've thrown out your super already. So you can't decide whether you want them to attack or whether to heal. So I feel like mechanically this gadget doesn't make sense. But if they make that change where you can press the gadget after you've thrown out your super, this could be an underrated gadget. So now we're going to be moving on to the best star powers in the game, starting off with 8-bit star power called Boosted Booster. So whenever you throw out your super with a star power, it will boost the range by 50% and the damage by 15%. So this is one of the main reasons why 8-bit's actually viable anymore. I never use the other star power, even though it's pretty good. You want that extra damage for you and your teammates because it really makes a big difference. So we have Carl's star power called Protective Pirouette. So whenever he uses his super, he'll get a 35% damage reduction shield, which enables Cole to make so many plays and so many team wipes. So this is definitely one of the best star powers. So we have Stu star power, Gas the Heal. So whenever you use your super with Stu, you'll heal for 580. So this is so good because you can just spam out supers and consistently keep on top of the opponents. Definitely one of the best star powers in the game. One of the best star powers in the game, we have Snappy Sniping with Piper. So whenever you hit a shot with Piper, you'll gain 0.4 of your ammo back. The reason why this is just so good because you can actually pair it with both gadgets, Auto Aimer and Homemade Recipe. So you'll get an extra piece of ammo if you hit one of your gadgets, and just overall it really rewards people that can hit shots with Piper, and because she deals so much damage, you need the extra ammo, and she has one of the slowest reloads in the game, so this just really helps out Piper. Moving on to one of the best star powers in the game, we have Sam's star power called Hard to Recovery. So whenever you pick up your knuckle busters, you'll heal up 20% of your missing HP, which without it, Sam would actually be one of the worst brawlers in the game, because the way you play Sam is you constantly just use your super against walls, get a lot of HP, get a lot of movement speed, and like I said, you can just win so many interactions. Some brawlers can't even kill you because of his star power. So now moving on to another fundamentally broken star power, we have Empower with Angelo. So every single time you use your super, you'll heal 600 per second, which is just so strong. The reason why this is so good is because you can keep charging up your arrow, so you can consistently keep up the 4.4k shot whilst healing up for 600 with your super, and then you can just keep chaining through your supers. And you think of a brawler like Hank, for example, you literally have to stop, stand still, and not charge up your bubbles. That means you're not going to have any DPS going your way. It will literally take you 2-3 seconds to charge up a bit of damage. So the same with Angelo applies, but of course, the reason why Angelo is so strong is because of his star power. Next, we have a lose star power, Hypothermia. So opponents can lose up to 50% of their damage, depending on how frozen they are. The reason why this is just so good is because it really limits an opponent's damage. This is one of the best star powers in the game. At first, it was hard to really see the value in it, but trust me, the star power is so good. Next up, we have Janet's star power called Vocal Warm-Up. So she'll focus 30% faster. The main reason why this is so good is because it increases her range the faster she focuses up, and essentially you're able to output so much consistent damage with the star power, and without it, Janet's really easy to counter. Moving on to one of the most broken star powers in the game, we have Ink Refills with Otis. So since his release, I've been saying this star power needs to be baseline, because without it, Otis is trash. So he'll gain an extra 33% more ink drops, essentially meaning he'll gain an extra projectile per attack. So instead of 3 projectiles per ammo, it's now 4. So of course that's additional DPS. He can then cycle through to his super much quicker, and without it, Otis, like I said, he's one of the worst brawlers in the game. With a broken star power, we have Curveball, and this is one of the most annoying ones for sure. So whenever you shoot out with Spike, the projectiles will curve, so this is really good for wall peeking, just really good as well for just throwing out spike shots and just hitting opponents randomly. Of course, at the highest of level, you can dodge Curveball, but 99.9% of players don't know how to dodge Curveball, so this star power is just fundamentally broken. So we have Amber's star power called Wild Flames. So whenever you're in and around your super, you can actually charge up to your next super. So the reason why this is just so good is because that's how you get pressure with Amber. You can stay really passive, and if the opponent starts to come towards you, of course, they're just going to get lit up, and then it's going to allow you to cycle through to your super quicker and just take over the map, because if you can get multiple supers around the map, then the opponent's really limited in terms of where they can go. Moving on to another really annoying star power, we have Root Sands with Sandy. So now Sandy's incredibly meta. This star power has always been one of the best inside of the game. Main reason being is because it stops the opponent's health from regenning, which is one of the most toxic traits in the game. But not only that, you play Sandy on grassy maps, and it will reveal the opponent's position for, of course, those 10 seconds. And 200 damage doesn't seem like a lot, but over time, if the opponents are in there for like 10 seconds or even 5 seconds, that's at least 1k damage to the opponents. So this is one of the best star powers in the game. Moving on to another star power you absolutely need on your brawler is Serve Ice Cold with Surge. So without this star power, it means that every time you respawn, you're going to be stuck at level 1, and there's nothing worse in the game than a level 1 Surge. So this enables you to keep to your stage 2 upgrade, which of course gives you additional movement speed, and without it, Surge would just be terrible. One of my favorite star powers in the game is Magic Puffs with Jean. So your teammates will heal 576 per second when they're close to Jean. The reason why this is just so good, because you can literally use your teammates as like a body block. They can be healing whilst tanking a lot of damage, which allows you to push forward and just create so many plays, because this passive healing trait is just so good. And lastly, for the best star powers, we have Freezing Snow on Gale. For every single shot, he slows the opponents for 0.5 seconds. So of course, this is just really strong, because I don't think there's another brawler in the game which literally has a built-in slow to their main attack. This can allow him to counter hypercharge brawlers, just counter brawlers in the open. It's just such a strong star power. So now moving on to the worst star powers in the game, starting off with Mama's Hug with Pam. So every single projectile that you hit, you heal for 96, which again is such a minuscule number. But the main reason why this is just so bad is because it's hard to get consistent damage with Pam unless you're really close to your opponents. You're really not going to see much benefit from this star power. Another really bad star power is Grom star power, Foot Patrol. So whenever you get your super, you get an additional 15% movement speed, but Grom takes a while to get his super. Not only that, you have to risk losing out on that extra 30% DPS from X Factor, character. So a bunch of these reasons, and you don't even want to hold on to your super with Grom when you get it, because it's such a good super. You want to throw it out as quickly as possible. So yeah, you just don't want to really use this star power. So another really bad star power is Bell's star power Grounded. So whenever you super an opponent, you'll stop them from reloading their ammo for 5 seconds. So that sounds really good, but it's just so many reasons as to why this star power just sucks, because a lot of the time brawlers have a fast reload speed, so they already have ammo of course actually in their slot, and then by the time they've wasted their ammo, this Grounded star power has just ran out of duration. So I don't know, it's just a terrible star power. Another really bad star power is Mandy's star power Hard Candy. So you get a 30% shield when you're focusing up with Mandy. So the reason why this is so bad is because of course you got to swap out in my sights, which is definitely needed with Mandy. But not only that, you're going to be outranging brawlers whilst you're focused up, so you're not really going to be taking a lot of damage, are you? Which just doesn't make sense to me. They need to rework the star power. Moving on to the final bad star power, and of course it's with our boy Hank. He's got one of the worst star powers in the game, Take Cover. So you get 20% shield when you're near a wall. Sometimes you can get some cheese factor with it in mutations, but outside of that, it's never been used. The main reason being is because you literally have to hug a wall. The second you're away from a wall, you lose that star power. So I feel like you need to like at least keep that shield for an extra few seconds after you hug the wall, and then it might be a decent star power, but for me it's just absolutely terrible. So that's going to be it for today's video, guys. I hope you enjoyed. Let me know whether you have any star powers and gadgets that I missed out in the comment section below. Don't forget to like, comment and subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time.